Hello, and welcome to The Buzz, where we bring you leaders in dental education, discussing hot topic courses and industry trends. I'm your host, Vanessa Emerson, founder of Dental Speakers Bureau, and today I'm excited to be here with Holly Ann Mitchell. Hey, Holly Ann, welcome.
Hi, Vanessa. So good to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm really thrilled that you're here. And for the planner who is not familiar with Holly Ann, I'm just going to give you a nutshell. She has a very interesting story, and we'll have to another time spend a little more time diving into that. It really is a very interesting story. And here's the Cliff Note version. She's gone from actress to homeless to a dental C-suite, where she guided a practice on New York's Upper West Side to become an Inc. 5000. They made the list of America's fastest growing companies 5 years in a row with her direction. So I think she knows a little bit of something about growing a practice, and we're really excited to learn more about the presentations where you help others with these skills that you've gained. So today, the first course we're going to talk about here is Case Acceptance Mastery. It's what you say and how you say it. Could you start us off by helping the event planner know, how this would fit in their program? What's happening in the practice that this course offers a solution for?
I think this is so relevant in the wake of COVID-19 because a lot of practices are required to see less patients per day now. We can't go for volume the way that we could before. And now it's really optimizing every appointment for revenue per patient. And the best way to do that is through effective case presentation. And that's why I think this course is so needed right now.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, could you walk us through a little bit more detail around what kind of solutions do you offer in this course?
It's interesting because part of my story is that I'm a hypnotist. And what you said that I was interesting, and when I was a kid, whenever somebody would call me interesting, that would usually translate to weird. So
Oh,
being a hypnotist is kind of a weird thing, but it is a really interesting toolbox of skill sets to have when you are communicating with other people. And how do you make other people feel safe and open to whatever you have to suggest? And sometimes it's just the way that you're saying it or the words and the phraseology that make it real for somebody and that make them more open to what you have to say. I think the interesting thing about this course is not only the hypnotic language patterns in the course, but also most case presentation. You've heard about building rapport, right? You want to establish trust really quickly with somebody. You want to have a relationship-based conversation, and all of that is true. And you'll find those things in this course. But what you will find in this course that you won't necessarily find in other courses is what I like to call a pilot light. So if you think about baking cookies, right? You've got an oven and you want to warm up the oven because you can't bake cookies in a cold oven. The same thing is true for your patients. They are at different temperature levels, how warm they are when they walk into the door, right? If you've got a word of mouth referral, for example, that's a pretty warm patient. They already like you before they've even met you because they've got that strong referral. But what do you do for the patients who are cold? What do you do for the patients who are closed off, who aren't happy to be here, who don't want to hear about what you have to say? And every time you try to engage them in a relationship, they're giving you those one-word answers like, yes, no, sometimes, right? And
like
there's
a teenager.
like a teenager, right? So there's something happening here where we're not able to establish rapport and establish a relationship. So the same thing would happen if you're baking cookies. You're trying to turn the oven up and nothing's happening. It's not getting hot. So what do you have to do? Your pilot light is out. So you gotta light a match and reignite that pilot light. And so using these hypnotic patterns, you can increase your case acceptance for the people who came in really cold, and you can light the pilot light by doing something unexpected, interrupting the pattern, which is a really fun thing to do, and it gets them warm and open to you where they otherwise might not be.
That sounds so fun and interesting in a great way. and different. And isn't that really what's valuable for our attendees, is to be able to gather all these different skills and to be able to, depending upon what the situation is, be able to pull out of their toolbox, or their tool belt, these different skills they gather through these CE courses. So is this, I'm assuming, a course for the entire team?
Definitely. Every point of the patient experience, even before they get there, even for the phone call or what they're seeing on on your website, it's increasing the heat and the temperature in that oven, right? So everything that we do is either heating the patient up or cooling them down. And everybody has a role to play to get that patient nice and open and warm to that case presentation so that you can be more effective.
Oh, I just love it. I would love to sit through this course myself. Anything else? Let's see. Is it typically a full day or partial day, or like what would be the ideal length for this course?
It depends on what's needed and how big the group is. If there's a small keynote where I talk about how to overcome any objection, and where I really focus in on the languaging piece, right? What are some really good comebacks, things that you can say when a patient says, "I'll think about it," or I don't want to do anything my insurance isn't going to pay for, right? If the patient were to say something like that, what are some of the language tools that you can use to overcome that objection? But if we wanted to do a full day workshop, we would go through every point in the patient journey, from before they come into the office to the financial conversation, and how do we create that warmth in every point of the journey so that you can get the patient to yes.
Oh, so there's some great flexibility in there. It sounds like you can expand or contract upon how much time they have and what their needs are. And I'm sure in your on your website and in your speaker packet and your materials, you give us ideas on specifically what's covered so they can decide what's most important to their group. This really does sound like a fun course. I mean, your personality and the skills that you bring to dentistry, I feel are very different and fun, and I anticipate it's a pretty interactive course.
It's definitely interactive, especially the longer ones, like a workshop format where we can really get into the role play. That's when we're really learning, right? That active learning, and it will help seal it in their brains if we're doing a longer session, so that they get that interactiveness. It's a lot of fun. I tell a lot of embarrassing stories about myself. Um, which also helps stick in people's brains. But yeah, you'll be feeling nice and warm by the end of it as well.
Oh, well, it sounds delightful. Is there anything we haven't talked about with this course that would be important for the meeting planner to know about it?
I think what's really interesting, and I think that doctors really appreciate about this course, is because sometimes when you introduce soft skills, people are like, "Oh, that's the soft stuff. We don't need any of that, right?" But what's interesting is the science behind it. And as a hypnotist and a master practitioner in neurolinguistic programming, I'm bringing the neuroscience aspect to these conversations as well, so that they can understand what's happening inside of the patient's brain as you are having these communication standards, and you're growing your skill set, but you're also understanding the why behind it. And I think that marrying the science and the techniques of human behavior is really nice for everyone who can attend.
Oh, this really is very fun, very fun in a like. Who wouldn't want to learn this to start with? you know, but to be able to utilize that, to be able to help. And I'll stop here because I'll want to just keep going down a rabbit hole. But here's what I'm thinking is, I mean, there's just so many ways you can use these type of skills to grow your
100%.
team, for communication or relationship.
Or life.
Life. So I'm sure those are some of your other courses, which we'll also talk about separately. So thanks again, Holly Ann, for being here. It sounds like a really wonderful course.
Thanks, Vanessa. Happy to provide more information for anyone who's curious.
Well, and for those who would like more information, visit dentalspeakersbureau.com, where you can find Holly Ann Mitchell, just like it sounds. Her name is spelled just like it sounds, on our website, or from there you can also be guided to her website. And the website for this, is it your name or is it the Leadwell Network? Which website for your speaking, Holly?
They can find me hollyannmitchell.com.
And
Holly with a Y, and with an E, Mitchell with two L's.
Oh, say it one more time, so I talked over you. Holly with a Y.
Holly with a Y, Ann with an E, Mitchell with 2 L's. Dot.
I love that you have that ready to roll like that. Awesome. Well, so there you have it. Until next time, everyone be well. And thanks again, Holly. Thank you for bringing such a fun and important topic to dentistry.
My
Well,
pleasure.
bye-bye.